For years, Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed seemed untouchable, skydiving over the palm, racing camels at dawn, and filling every scroll with sun-drenched images of perfect power. Yet behind those carefully lit snapshots, three very different women now orbit one glittering crown. A long-suffering wife retreating into silence, an ex whose sudden disappearance set tabloids ablaze, and a confidant whose loyalty may mask something far bolder. Whispers of secret vows and palace rifts ripple through Dubai's night air, colliding with the hard duties of state and the delicate futures of four young heirs. Tonight, we peel back the golden facade to trace every rumor, every cryptic post, every carefully hidden fracture. Because when a royal heart and a billion-dollar throne crash together, only one can survive the impact, or so the whispers say. It began with a single snow-dusted swipe. On January 19, 2025, Sheikh Hamdan's Instagram lit up with glossy shots from Courchevel 1850. The twins Rashid and Sheikha wobbling on tiny skis, a chalet balcony piled high with caviar tins, and the crown prince himself carving perfect lines across the French Alps. But eagle-eyed followers spotted something and someone else in the frame. Leaning just out of focus in two separate stories was Shama al-Falasi, the long-rumored confidant whose name has trailed the prince for months. Within hours, #fazza holiday trended across Dubai Twitter, and fan pages dissected every pixel to confirm Shama's presence. What should have been another royal adventure slideshow detonated into a gossip firestorm when Hamdan's ex-wife, Hadia chimed in from Dubai with a blistering, now-deleted comment, "Snow melts. So does pretense." Screenshots raced through WhatsApp groups, and commentary channels dove in, claiming Hadia had been blindsided by the public display of Hamdan's new companion. While official sources kept silent, vloggers amplified whispers that Hadia had explicitly asked the prince to keep their children out of any new romance until custody talks settled. Suddenly, Courchevel wasn't just another dazzling pit stop on Hamdan's adventure map. It was ground zero for a family fault line. By nightfall, a second shockwave hit. Dubai fashion blogger at My City Glitter posted that Shama, not Hadia, had booked the luxury chalet and paid for 2 rooms linked by a private corridor, one for the twins. The post racked up 50,000 likes before it, too, vanished. Was it a simple friend group getaway, as palace insiders quietly insisted, or a deliberately staged reveal? Rumors suggest Hamdan's circle believed a controlled leak might soften public reaction to any future engagement, yet the online backlash proved anything but soft. And just as the dust and snow seemed ready to settle, Hadia herself disappeared from Dubai the very next morning, leaving behind nothing but a cryptic poem about winter roses and empty rooms. But that vanishing act is its own mystery, and the reason London tabloids spent the next week on high alert. Because if Courchevel cracked the surface, Hadia's sudden exit threatened to blow the whole story wide open. One last-minute ticket to Heathrow cracked the royal facade wider than any snowy selfie ever could. Just days after the Courchevel uproar, Hadia slipped out of Dubai, bound for London, without a single heads-up to Sheikh Hamdan. He discovered her whereabouts only when a routine call to arrange a visit for their twins rang, unanswered, then redirected to an international number, leaving the prince unsettled, insiders say. Almost immediately, Hadia's private Instagram lit up with a midnight black slide and a single line of verse, "Winter roses grow where promises froze." Fans read betrayal between the rhymes. Tabloids amplified whispers that she was meeting a discreet circle of old money suitors, each eager to console and perhaps co-opt the woman who once stood beside Dubai's future ruler. None of these match-up stories are confirmed, but the speculation alone stoked a frenzy of think pieces. Was Hadia staging a strategic retreat or plotting a power play? Back in Dubai, courtiers murmured that her sudden flight was calculated leverage in ongoing custody talks. Rumors suggest she deliberately withheld her location to highlight what she calls Hamdan's selective transparency. Yet even sympathetic friends concede her behavior has grown increasingly erratic since the Courchevel photos dropped, a pattern the prince's circle finds impossible to ignore. While London's paparazzi camped outside Belgravia hotels, Hadia maintained radio silence. No sightings, no statements, allowing curiosity to mushroom, and every unanswered question only magnified the stakes back home, where two palaces now echo with a colder kind of quiet. Because Hadia's disappearance wasn't just a geographic move, it redrew the emotional map of Dubai's most watched family. But the chill inside those gilded halls was about to deepen as a royal marriage slipped into two separate addresses. Across Dubai's moonlit skyline, two royal residences now glow like rival lighthouses. Since the Courchevel fiasco, Sheikh Hamdan has withdrawn to his newer dune-ringed second palace, keeping Rashid and Shaika close behind gilded gates, while his official wife, Sheikha Thani, has quietly reclaimed the original family seat in Nad al-Sheba, an arrangement insiders admit is unprecedented in peacetime. Outwardly, both households run like clockwork, yet servants whisper of hushed corridors and meals taken at opposite ends of the city. Social media sleuths note that Thani's recent solo staycay posts, sun-drenched brunches with friends, a toddler's finger paint masterpiece, carry no hint of her husband, reinforcing talk of a marital deep freeze. Court advisors insist the split addresses logistical convenience, but veteran palace staff concede a harsher truth. Communication now filters through aides, not eye contact. For a crown prince juggling cabinet dossiers by day and bedtime stories by night, every echo in those marble halls reminds observers of a question no protocol can answer. How long can one marriage survive on parallel tracks? Yet, before courtiers can decode the silence between two palaces, another voice is about to reshape the entire conversation, one that speaks in poetry, loyalty, and perhaps a daring proposal. When Shama al-Falasi posted a lilac-toned photo of sunrise over the empty quarter on the 4th of June 2025, most followers admired the view until they read the caption. It wasn't coordinates or a travel quote. Instead, 12 Arabic lines echoed an age-old Bedouin pledge of unbreakable loyalty, closing with, "I stand where destiny calls, even when the desert shifts beneath my feet." Within minutes, fan accounts translated the poem and declared it a veiled vow to Sheikh Hamdan. TikTok reactors spliced the verse over slow-motion clips of the pair at polo matches, fueling the hashtag number sign Shama for fazza. But the truly electric rumor, still unverified, surfaced hours later. Insiders claimed Shama had privately offered to step aside if her presence endangered Hamdan's role as crown prince, only to be met with a promise of a discreet engagement once palace tensions cooled. Reports cite a closed-door meeting at a family majlis and a black opal ring said to be resting in a royal vault until the right political moment arrives. Courtiers now debate whether Shama is playing sacrificial peacemaker or shrewd strategist. Her circle insists she seeks harmony, not headlines. Yet skeptics note that every strategic retreat she makes seems to draw the spotlight closer. Either way, her quiet ultimatum forces Hamdan toward a collision of heart and throne no protocol handbook covers. And as whispers of secret vows swirl, the prince faces the harshest test of all, choosing between the demands of duty and the pull of desire. When Sheikh Hamdan accepted the twin titles of UAE Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Defense on the 14th of July 2024, the move was hailed as a generational shift. His father had guarded the defense brief since the Federation's birth in 1971. Overnight, the thrill-seeking fazza, who once dominated Instagram highlights, found himself chairing classified briefings, signing procurement papers, and flying to Abu Dhabi for weekly security councils. Barely a year later, newspapers marked his first anniversary report card, praising modernization drives, even as they noted the cabinet's learning curve under its new youthful general. Yet every diplomatic handshake now comes with a camera lens trained on his personal life. When he met India's defense minister in April 2025 to ink a joint training accord, analysts say more clicks landed on gossip reels about Courchevel than on the official press release. A Financial Times profile lauded Hamdan and his brother for steering Dubai's next chapter, but admitted a degree of uncertainty lingers around the Crown Prince's expanding brief. Inside the palace, that uncertainty feels sharper. Advisors privately worry that custody negotiations, a cooling marriage, and whispers of a secret engagement could erode the laser focus required of a defense chief. Even moments meant to unite the family, like the birth of baby Hind in March 2025, were drowned out by subplot hashtags dissecting who sent flowers and who did not. For now, Hamdan toggles between war room strategy sessions and late-night phone calls with lawyers, determined to keep the two realms separate. But Dubai's chattering classes sense the line fraying. One well-placed commentator described it as a tightrope strung between a command center and a nursery. And if that rope snaps, the fallout could ricochet far beyond palace walls, because the next front isn't on a battlefield at all. It's wherever four young heirs wake to headlines older generations never had to read. Four wide-eyed royals now stand at the center of every whisper. Rashid and Shaika, the exuberant twins who just turned 4 in May, already appear in birthday reels, surrounded by personalized Dubai-shaped chocolates and a sea of gold balloons. Their little brother, Mohammed, born in February 2023, toddles behind them, clutching a plush camel nearly his own height, while baby Hind, introduced to the world only this March, still dozes through most of the palace drama, cradled in her father's arms for Instagram's millions. But as adorable as those moments look on social, court insiders paint a tenser scene behind closed doors. Because if Hamdan and Sheikh Thani split, the question of who tucks these children in at night won't be answered by tradition alone. Since 2021, the UAE's updated personal status code has leaned toward automatic joint custody after divorce, emphasizing the best interests of the child rather than defaulting to one parent. Royal families often operate by different protocols, yet lawyers familiar with the Maktoum household say drafts of a special guardianship charter are already circulating, an unprecedented attempt to blend federal law with palace precedent. Rumors suggest Hadia has lobbied for weekly video calls from London, while Thani's advisors push for the children's schooling to remain entirely inside Dubai. None of these proposals are confirmed, but every leaked clause sparks fresh debate in Emirati group chats. Could the Crown Prince become the UAE's first senior royal to formalize joint custody under the new rules? Behind the scenes, tutors whisper about shuffled lesson times so Rashid and Shaika can travel discreetly between residences, and nannies swap code words over walkie-talkies to keep paparazzi guessing who slept where. Even baby Hind's vaccination schedule reportedly triggered a turf tussle between medical teams from each palace wing. One veteran aide sums it up bluntly: when the heir's bedtime story changes address, the whole succession narrative shifts with it. And the stakes are climbing, because just as lawyers sharpen their pencils, TikTok detectives claim to have unearthed a secret marriage contract, fuel for the next, even louder rumor cycle. TikTok hasn't stopped buzzing since a late-night clip titled "Girlfriend Leaks," Sheikh Hamdan's biggest secret, rocketed past 3 million views. In the video, a self-proclaimed palace insider flashes what she claims is a blurred-out marriage contract bearing the names Hamdan bin Mohammed and Shama al-Falasi, and swears it was signed in April behind closed majlis doors. Rumors suggest the contract promises Shama full royal status after an official divorce from Sheikh Thani, but only once the twins turn 5 and public opinion cools. Hours later, another upload titled "Sheikh Hamdan to divorce her" spliced shaky footage of Thani leaving Palace 1 with boxes of children's toys, triggering a fresh wave of speculation that custody talks have reached a breaking point. Reports claim the clip was filmed by a staff driver fired that same week, yet no outlet has verified its authenticity. Still, the narrative snowballed. Some channels allege Hamdan has already filed preliminary papers through a Dubai family court liaison. Others insist Thani's advisors are drafting their own conditions, demanding sole authority over the children's schooling. Fueling the frenzy, the hashtag #Shama for fazza keeps spiking every time viewers stitch those videos with a recent stream of couple-style edits featuring Hamdan and Shama at polo matches and charity galas. Content creators argue the algorithm itself is pushing the princess storyline, while royal watchers warn that any confirmed second marriage, especially to a non-royal, could reignite old debates about succession rules. For now, the palace line is total silence. No confirmations, no denials, only the murmured reminder that Dubai's royal family has weathered rumor cycles before. Yet analysts say the sheer volume of 2025's leaks is unprecedented, and every unverified contract screenshot chips at the image of seamless unity the House of Maktoum prefers. Whether these vows are real or just viral fantasy, the stakes feel very real for everyone inside those mirrored corridors, because if divorce papers do surface, one final decision remains: what Hadia Zen does next and how her move might upend the entire royal equation. Imagine your father telling you that in order to marry the person you love, you first have to give another child to a woman you don't love anymore. That's exactly what happened to Sheikh Hamdan. He's a prince known around the world, but behind the palace walls, he's stuck in a painful choice between royal duty and real love. When Sheikh Mohammed, his father, gave him this condition, it wasn't just about tradition, it was about control. At the heart of this story is Shama, the woman Hamdan has loved for years. But now, she's being pushed aside by the people in power. This isn't just a love story. It's a war behind closed doors, and the next move could change everything. The demand came out of nowhere. Sheikh Mohammed looked at his son and said, "If you want to marry Shama, you must give Sheikh Thani another baby boy first." Just like that, no discussion, no choice, just a royal command. Hamdan stood there shocked. This wasn't a request, and it was a test. If he said yes, he would break Shama's heart. If he said no, he might lose her forever. He left the meeting torn apart. His head was full of pressure, but his heart only wanted peace. And there was only one person he could talk to about it, Shama. Hamdan didn't send a message or ask for a meeting. He just showed up quietly, respectfully, at Shama's home. No guards, no cameras, just the two of them. His voice was shaking, his eyes were filled with pain. He told her everything, what his father had said, how it made him feel, and how scared he was of losing her. Shama sat there, listening. She didn't interrupt, she didn't cry. She just looked at him, holding all that pain in silence. When he finished, she took a deep breath and simply said, "I need some time." They both knew something had changed. They were no longer just two people in love. They were now two people stuck in a fight they never asked for. Soon after, Shama disappeared from public view. She was sick, not just physically, but emotionally. The weight of everything she'd heard had crushed her. It wasn't just the flu, it was the pressure, the heartbreak, the silent war she was pulled into. But while her body was weak, her mind stayed sharp. She realized this wasn't just about Hamdan and his father. This was a move by Sheikh Thani, a cold, quiet way to push her out. Thani thought Shama would give up, but she didn't know who she was dealing with. Shama rested. Then she made a decision. She picked up the phone and called Hamdan. "I'm still here," she said. "They won't break us. If we're going through this storm, we're going together." A few days later, Shama posted a poem. It was short, sad, beautiful. But anyone who knew her could feel the pain in her words. The happy energy in her voice was gone. Her smile didn't reach her eyes anymore. Her father, Sheikh Abdullah, noticed right away. He called her into his study, just the two of them, father and daughter. She tried to stay quiet, but after a moment it all came out. The royal demand, Hamdan's struggle, her heartbreak. Abdullah listened, and then he got angry, not at her, but at what was being done to her. He turned to his wife and said, "We need to speak to Hamdan. He deserves to hear this from us." If no one else was going to protect Shama, they would. A formal dinner was arranged. Hamdan arrived, calm but serious. He knew this wasn't just about food. This was a conversation that could change everything. Shama's parents sat across from him. The air was thick with tension. Then Sheikh Abdullah asked the question that cut through it all. "Do you love my daughter, or are you just afraid of losing her?" Hamdan didn't get defensive. He told the truth. He said Shama made him feel alive, like more than just a prince. He said he hated the idea of having another child with Thani, that he felt trapped, and that the only time he felt like himself was with Shama. "I was born in a palace," he said, "but I've never been free." For the first time, Sheikh Abdullah didn't see Hamdan as a royal. He saw him as a man, and one who truly loved his daughter. You'd think something would happen after that, but nothing did. Days passed, no decisions, no messages, just silence. Shama stayed at home, quiet, distant, waiting not for permission but for peace. Hamdan was surrounded by people, but he'd never felt more alone. Meetings, smiles, appearances, but inside he was falling apart. They thought of each other all the time, wondering what the other was feeling, wondering if love was still enough, but no one spoke. Sometimes silence says more than words ever could, until one day someone finally decided to break it. Sheikh Abdullah had seen enough. He saw his daughter lose her light. He saw Hamdan open up and still be left in the dark. So he made a decision. He picked up the phone and asked for a meeting, directly with Sheikh Mohammed. No public drama, no press, just one powerful father calling another. Everyone knew what that meant. This wasn't going to be a friendly chat. This was going to be a confrontation. He wasn't coming to ask. He was coming to protect his daughter, no matter what. While all of this was happening, Sheikha Thani was celebrating. She thought she had won. To her, the silence meant victory. Shama had vanished. Hamdan hadn't acted. The plan worked. So she partied, mocktails, laughter, private jokes with her friends. She believed the problem was solved. She never had a chance, she said behind closed doors. She laughed at Shama, at Hamdan, at the idea that love could beat tradition. But what Thani didn't know was that things were far from over. Far away from her party, two fathers, one angry, one powerful, were heading toward a private meeting that could change everything. So now two fathers are about to meet, one protecting his daughter, the other protecting a kingdom. What will Sheikh Mohammed say when confronted face to face? Will he stand by his demand or finally hear the pain it's caused? And what about Hamdan and Shama? Is there still hope for their love? Or is this the moment everything falls apart? Meanwhile, Sheikha Thani still believes she's already won, but she doesn't see what's coming. Because when pride blinds you, you never notice the storm building behind you. This story isn't over. In fact, it's just getting started. In the next episode, I'll reveal what really happened during Sheikh Abdullah's private meeting with Sheikh Mohammed. And trust me, it may change everything. So if you don't want to miss it, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you're the first to know when the next chapter drops. Until then, stay safe, stay curious, and remember, behind every royal smile, there's always a secret waiting to be revealed.